There was a time when being alone could kill you. Not emotionally, literally. For most of human history, a person separated from their tribe wasn't just lonely. They were in danger. No one to watch for predators. No one to share food. No one to help when sickness arrived. Isolation wasn't uncomfortable. It was a survival threat. And yet, today, billions of people live surrounded by other humans, connected to thousands of people through glowing screens, and somehow feel more alone than ever. That shouldn't make sense. The safest, most connected society in human history has created a loneliness epidemic. Why? And more importantly, what happened to us? Because the answer is stranger than most people realize. It begins with a simple question. How many people truly know you? Not your profile picture, not your job title, not your vacation photos. You. The version of you that exists when nobody is watching. For most of human history, that answer was surprisingly large. Imagine waking up 10,000 years ago. You wouldn't live among strangers. You'd live among perhaps 100 to 150 people. The same faces, the same voices, the same stories. Every day, they knew your strengths, your flaws, your fears, your habits, your history. You couldn't disappear into a crowd because there was no crowd. You belonged somewhere. And that's important because researchers believe the human brain evolved specifically for this kind of world. A world built on deep, repeated social bonds, not endless social options. But then something changed. Actually, everything changed. About 12,000 years ago, humans began settling down. Agriculture arrived. Villages became towns. Towns became cities. And for the first time, people started living among strangers. At first, this seemed like progress. More food, more safety, more opportunity. But hidden inside civilization was an unexpected trade. The larger our societies became, the weaker many of our personal connections became. A hunter-gatherer might know every member of their community. A modern city resident can walk past 10,000 people in a week and know almost none of them. And that creates a bizarre psychological contradiction. You can be surrounded by people and still feel invisible. In fact, some researchers believe loneliness isn't caused by being physically alone. It's caused by feeling socially unseen. And that leads to an even bigger mystery. If loneliness comes from lacking meaningful connections, why do social networks often make people feel worse? After all, they were supposed to solve this problem. When social media first appeared, it seemed almost magical. You could reconnect with old friends, meet new people, stay connected across continents. Humanity suddenly had a communication tool unlike anything before, but something unexpected happened. The more connected people became digitally, the more disconnected many felt, emotionally. Why? Imagine you're starving. Now imagine someone hands you a picture of food. That's helpful for a moment. But eventually, the picture reminds you that you're still hungry. Some psychologists argue that modern social media can create a similar effect. It gives us signals of connection. Likes, views, notifications, comments, tiny social rewards. But many of them stop short of fulfilling the deeper need underneath. To be known, to be understood, to matter to someone. And nobody realized how powerful that difference was, because the human brain has a strange habit. It constantly compares, not reality, appearances. For thousands of years, you compared yourself to a small group of people. Today, you compare yourself to millions, the most successful, the most attractive, the most talented, the happiest looking people on earth, every day. And the result is something almost nobody in history experienced, feeling inadequate while simultaneously feeling alone. But that's still not the strangest part. The strangest part is that modern loneliness may have been accidentally engineered into our daily lives. Think about your grandparents or your great-grandparents. Many lived close to family, shopped locally, worked near home, attended the same church, knew their neighbors, saw familiar faces constantly. Their social lives weren't always exciting, but they were woven into everyday life. Now compare that to modern life. You drive alone, work behind screens, order food without speaking, watch entertainment alone, shop online, message instead of meeting, move cities more often, change jobs more often, and know your neighbors less than any generation before. None of these things seem harmful individually. Together, they quietly remove hundreds of small human interactions that our brains evolved expecting. Imagine taking bricks away from a wall. One brick doesn't matter, neither does 2 or 10. But eventually the wall collapses. Many people assume loneliness comes from missing one giant relationship. Sometimes it comes from losing hundreds of tiny ones. The cashier who recognizes you, the coworker who notices your mood, the neighbor who waves hello, the friend who randomly calls. Small moments, huge consequences. And now we arrive at the twist. Because loneliness isn't actually telling us something is wrong with us. It's telling us something is missing around us. In the same way, hunger isn't a character flaw. It's a signal. Loneliness is one of the oldest survival systems humans possess. Your brain evolved to treat social disconnection as a threat because for most of history it was. Researchers have found that chronic loneliness can affect sleep, stress levels, physical health, and even lifespan. Not because loneliness is merely emotional, but because your brain interprets prolonged isolation as danger. The alarm system stays switched on, day after day, year after year. But if loneliness is a warning signal, why is it becoming more common precisely when we have more freedom than ever? The answer might be uncomfortable. Modern society became incredibly good at maximizing individual freedom. You can live where you want, work where you want, watch what you want, believe what you want, leave relationships, change careers, reinvent yourself repeatedly. These freedoms are extraordinary. But every gain has a cost. The same forces that liberated individuals also weakened many of the structures that automatically connected people, tribes, neighborhoods, extended families, religious communities, local gathering places, shared rituals. For centuries, these systems acted like social glue, sometimes restrictive, sometimes frustrating. But they kept people attached to one another. Today, many people enjoy more personal freedom than any generation before. Yet they often carry a burden previous generations rarely faced. They must build their own community from scratch, and that is much harder than it sounds, because friendship isn't usually built through effort. It's built through repeated proximity, seeing the same people again and again. School, church, sports, neighborhoods, workplaces, shared experiences. When those structures disappear, friendship becomes something you must actively schedule, and relationships begin competing against calendars, commutes, deadlines, streaming services, and endless digital distractions. At first, nobody noticed. Then loneliness rates began rising across age groups, young people, middle-aged adults, even the elderly, different generations, same feeling. And hidden beneath all of it was a surprising realization. Modern humans are not lonely because they are bad at connecting. They're lonely because they were designed for a world that no longer exists. That's the mystery, and that's the reveal. The human brain you're carrying right now is ancient. It evolved in small groups, face-to-face relationships, shared struggles, shared stories, shared lives. Yet every day it wakes up inside a world of algorithms, apartments, traffic, notifications, and digital conversations. A world that would seem completely alien to your ancestors. And somehow, despite all our technology, the brain still asks the same question it asked 10,000 years ago. Who has my back? Who knows me? Where do I belong? Maybe that's why loneliness hurts so much. Because beneath the sadness lies something deeper, a reminder, a signal, a need, not for more followers, not for more notifications, not for more content, but for something astonishingly ancient. Another human being, someone who knows your laugh before you laugh, someone who notices when you're quieter than usual, someone who remembers your stories, someone who would notice if you disappeared. And perhaps the strangest realization of all is this. In a world where nearly everything has changed, the thing we need most never did. The human heart still searches for the same thing it searched for beside ancient campfires thousands of years ago. Not attention, not popularity, not endless connection, just belonging.